Tesham evanukampartam aham ajnanajam tamaha nashayam atmabhavastaha jnāna-dīpena bhāsvatā. Jnāna-dīpena bhāsvatā. What a glorious declaration by Krishna in the Gita. This is one of the most significant assurances that Krishna makes in the Gita. As we all know, Gita is a text of assurances by Bhagavan. He keeps assuring and reassuring Arjuna and all of us throughout the Gita. And this declaration stands out as a very significant declaration. Tesham evanukampartam aham ajnanajam tamaha nashayam yatmabhavastaha jnāna-dīpena bhāsvatā. Tesham, he says. Who are those Krishna is referring to? He says, to those who desire my union, to those who long to belong to me, to those for whom belonging to me is more important than their own material belongings. To them, Krishna says, Atma-bhavastaha, by establishing myself in their minds and in their hearts. Jnāna-dīpena bhāsvatā, I shall light the lamp of knowledge. Not ordinary knowledge. Bhakti rūpāpanna jnāna. Aham ajnanajam tamaha. By lighting that lamp of knowledge, I shall dispel all darkness. I shall dispel the ignorance that arises due to anadikala karma. Krishna is referring to those who strive for his union. Just one shloka before, Krishna says, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. Satata yuktanam bhajatam. In order to stay connected with him, those who constantly are devoted to him, who endeavor to attain him, who constantly strive to contemplate on him. Dadhami buddhi yogam tam. I shall grant that blissful state of buddhi yoga, the matured state of devotion. Krishna is so very compassionate. He says, I shall not only grant that state of devotion where one gets to experience me, Bhagavan grants his blissful vision to the devotee. And he says, I shall also destroy all the obstacles that shall come in the way of buddhi yoga to arise. So he not only grants the supreme state of bhakti, he says, I will also remove all the obstacles that come in the way. Tesham eva anukampa, out of compassion. Kripa, daya, anukampa. The most important words whenever we reflect on Krishna. We need his kripa, his grace all the time. We need his daya so that he can forgive us, keep forgiving us all the time. His mercy. And we need his compassion. And it is out of utmost compassion for us that Krishna says, he will not only give us that supreme state of bhakti, that supreme state of devotion where we can get to see him, not only experience him, get to see his Divya Mangala Vigraha. That blissful vision, he not only grants, but he says, I assure you that I will also ensure that all the obstacles that come in the way of our continuous experience of Krishna. It is important to have his vision, but it is also important to ensure that his vision stays constant. Because anadikala karma vasanas keep coming in the way between us and Krishna all the time. We keep striving, but the force of anadikala karma vasanas is so very formidable that it is impossible for us to overcome them. And Krishna says, even those obstacles I shall remove so that we can stay connected with him. Such is his compassion. Tesham evanukam partam aham ajñānajam tamaha nashayam atma bhavastaha jñāna-dīpena bhāsvatā. Jñāna-dīpena bhāsvatā. I shall light the light of knowledge, the illumination. Illuminating what? Illuminating Krishna's delectable nature. The more we get to know him, the more we can experience Krishna's delectable nature, and when he lights the lamp of knowledge, he ensures that we get to experience him fully. Therefore, lighting the lamp of knowledge is a very significant act that Bhagavan does. And as we celebrate the festival of lights today, Deepavali, it is indeed a blessing that we have all assembled together to relish this glorious declaration, jñāna-dīpena bhāsvatā, to relish this glorious assurance and to soak in Krishna's compassion. Deepavali is possibly the most significant festivals in the Hindu calendar. In Sanatana Dharma, this is one of the most significant festivals. This festival is associated with both the Purna avatars, with Krishna avatara and with Rama avatara. We celebrate Deepavali on the joyous occasion of the victory of goodness over evil, Krishna's victory over Naraka. We also celebrate Deepavali to mark the glorious occasion of Bhagavan Sri Ramachandra coming back to Ayodhya. When Rama was exiled from Ayodhya, Ayodhya became a ghost city. The people of Ayodhya lost their very life. And after 14 agonizingly long years, when Rama returned to Ayodhya, the longing of Ayodhyavasis was fulfilled, and all the Ayodhyavasis spontaneously celebrated that momentous occasion of Bhagavan Sri Ramachandra coming back to Ayodhya through festivities, bursting crackers and lighting lamps. This historic event of Rama returning to Ayodhya is so very significant. It is of immense significance to our lives. It is historically significant, no doubt, but it is also immensely significant to our lives on a day-to-day basis. Ayodhya represents our heart, and the Lord of Ayodhya, the Lord of our heart, is Bhagavan Sri Ramachandra, the object of our love. Unfortunately, due to our anadikala karma, the misconceptions, the ignorance, we exile Rama away out of our Ayodhya, out of our hearts. And the moment Rama is exiled out of Ayodhya, our heart, all that we experience in life is only emptiness. Just like how Ayodhya became a ghost city, our hearts become a ghost patana. We experience only disillusionment, discontentment, distress, chasing all kinds of pleasures in order to attain that completeness. We continue to be in that state of longing, that longing for fulfillment, which is only possible when Bhagavan comes back into our hearts. Therefore, lighting this lamp on this auspicious day of Deepavali, the event, the significance of Deepavali is not just in lighting the lamps. It is also in welcoming the Lord back to our hearts. As we light the lamps, it is also important for us to welcome Him back. We also need to understand that, yes, while we have banished Him from our hearts, while He has been exiled, He only becomes unmanifest to our vision. He never goes away. He becomes unmanifest to our vision, and patiently He keeps staying with us. As we travel through our samsaric journey, through all our adventures and misadventures in samsara, Bhagavan patiently stays with us, unmanifest to our vision, patiently waiting for us, waiting for our invite. Every Deepavali comes, we go around inviting people to parties. One invitation we fail to send to Bhagavan to come back. He patiently waits for every Deepavali. He patiently waits for several lifetimes. And then one fine day, we get that blessing. Because of Nirhetuka Kripa of Bhagavan, we willingly or unwillingly invite Him. And that invite triggers the journey of transformation in all of us. Bhagavan is only waiting for that one signal to be given from us to Him. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam Macchitta madgata prana bodhayantah parasparam katayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramantita. Krishna says, those who keep striving to I keep using the word striving to contemplate on Him. It is not easy to contemplate on Him. We can strive because we have so many things in our minds, so many other important things that also clash. Amongst several priorities, Krishna also tries to find a space in our minds. Therefore, Krishna says, those who even strive, those who endeavor to contemplate on Him, Macchitta madghata prana bodhayantah parasparam, by constantly relishing His glories, constantly trying to discuss about Him, referring to the Itihasa Puranas, trying to contemplate on Him, to them, dadhami buddhi yogam tam, I shall give them. He shall grant that mature state of bhakti. He is the one who kindles the latent desires in our hearts. Bhakti for Krishna is already there within. We don't need to go searching for bhakti. When we loosely say we have to cultivate bhakti, but it is only that we have to discover bhakti, because bhakti is our natural state. Bhagavan, by lighting the lamp of knowledge, is only kindling the inherent latent bhakti within us. By kindling the light of knowledge, jñāna-dīpena bhāsvatā, He is only illuminating our inner world so that it can become bright and it can also become right. Inner world becoming bright. If there is darkness, we do not know what is there. If a room is dark, there could be a lot of garbage. Imagine we staying in a room filled with garbage. The room is dark. We continue. But the moment the light is switched on, then we realize the amount of garbage that we have accumulated all around us. And we also realize that within that garbage, Krishna has also been staying together with us, putting up with that all the time out of compassion for us. When the inner world is lit and becomes bright, and it becomes also right. Why it becomes right? The moment we get Krishna's vision, then our latent desires get energized. The desire for Krishna to love him, the longing for fulfillment of that bliss, also that longing gets energized. That is why when Krishna gives that assurance, jñāna-dīpena bhāsvatā, that assurance is so very important for us. Just by lighting that lamp of knowledge within us, he gets our inner world bright and right. So as we celebrate Deepavali, it is very important for us to keep reminding us of this glorious occasion of people lighting lamps way back in Treta Yuga. But we are here not to discuss that event. There is something else we need to relish today, which also marks this auspicious day. Many of you would have been wondering, jñāna-dīpena bhāsvatā is a Gita declaration, and we have been discussing Gita all the time. Is there going to be anything special that we are going to discuss today? When we talk about Krishna lighting the lamp of wisdom in the minds and hearts of those who long to belong to him, one thing becomes very clear. We all ask this question: how can we become the chosen ones? How can we become the chosen ones? And when will Krishna choose us? We become the chosen ones when we choose Krishna. The answer is very simple. When we choose him above everything else, we become his chosen ones. And when we think of those who have chosen Krishna over and above everything else, who else come to our minds other than the blessed Gopas and Gopis of Vraja? Deepavali is very, very significant also because today is the glorious day of Damodara Lila. Today is the day when the boundless Bhagavan decided to be bound by the bountiful bhakti of a bhakta. Of all the Lilas of Bhagavan, Krishna Cheshtitas are always overwhelming, always enchanting. There are several Leelas of Bhagavan, but there is one Leela which stands out all the time. The Leela that is celebrated as Damodara Lila. Deepavali also happens to be the day when this glorious Leela was enacted. What a glorious Leela when the boundless Bhagavan, the supreme controller, who controls everything, chooses to be controlled. And incidentally and interestingly, the supreme controller who chooses to be controlled also stays in control. Tvam grahagavyamusham yashoda gurvitpadiya vamavana mamushamana premnata dhama parinama jusha bhavanda tadrik nate charitam arya jana sahante. Tadrik nate charitam arya jana sahante. Arya jana. Who are these Arya janas? Shukha, Yasa, Shatakopa, Vishnuchitta. Great bhaktas, it seems, whenever they are reminded of Damodara Lila, they go into a swoon. They become unconscious. Tadrik nate charitam arya jana sahante. They cannot bear for a moment to see Bhagavan being tied, to be punished, to be chastised. Puresha in Atimanusha is addressing, hey Krishna, what kind of a Leela have you engaged in? Your ways are your ways, hey Krishna. Tvamanyagopa grahagavyamusham yashoda gurvitpadiya vamamanam amrushamana. Hey Krishna, why did you go around stealing butter from all the houses everywhere in Raja? And of all the people, why did you upset Yashoda? That Yashoda, Gurvitpadiya Vamamanam Amrishyamana. Yashoda, it seems, was very proud. Who will not be proud if they have a son like Krishna? Her pride is very much justified. What a blessed soul Yashoda is. It seems Yashoda is very upset. Not because of Krishna's pranks, not because of his mischiefs. She is upset because people are complaining. When people, all the Gopas come and complain, the first reaction from Yashoda, how can you even complain about my Krishna? Is it even possible for Krishna to do anything wrong? Unbelievable. And then repeatedly these complaints come, one day after the other, one day after the other, one day after the other. Then she starts thinking, maybe there should be some truth. It is not one, it is not two, hundreds of Gopikas are coming on a daily basis. This has become a practice, it seems. It looks like them, and it looks like they're, like a record, they're playing back again and again how Krishna is going around, not only stealing butter, he's breaking the pots also, making a mess in every house. Butter and milk always on the floor across Vraja. And then it seems it strikes to Yashoda. After all, it is not Krishna's fault, it is my fault. I have not been feeding him good butter, good quality butter. That is why he is going out to searching for good quality butter. And then Yashoda decides one day that something has to be done, and then she herself witnesses Krishna's cheshtita. Then she finds out, after all, there is some truth about what people have been talking about Krishna. And then she decides to chastise him and tie him to a mortar. So Kuresha is saying, he says, what kind of a Leela is this where that boundless Bhagavan is getting bound? How is it even possible? Krishna's cheshtitas, his Leelas are not just amusing. They are amazing. They are amazing. Why they are amazing? Because Bhagavan, for a moment, God sends his godhood back. For a moment, he sends his godhood back and he starts to engage like a naughty little child, just for the sake of reciprocating love with those who love him. Isn't it amazing that Bhagavan renounces that one thing that all of us in this world long for? All of us in this world long for one thing: power. All of us long for control. And imagine the control and the power that Bhagavan is endowed with. Isn't it amazing that God renounces his godhood? He is ready to renounce his godhood for the sake of exchanging intimate love with his bhaktas. This is what is so very special about Krishna's Leelas, and so very special specifically when it comes to Damodara Lila. Now, Leela, we keep talking about why Bhagavan keeps doing this Leela. Why he is engaging in all kinds of these pranks. Just the moment Krishna took birth, his birth itself was a Leela. Adbhuta, ati ati adbhuta. He did not wait for a single day. His Leela started. His cheshtita started. One after the other, one after the other. As he was growing, his pranks, his mischiefs were also growing, escalating in number. enchanting, endearing, but his pranks were also inflaming. People were also getting upset. But then the Vrajavasis loved Krishna so much. So Bhagavan, we need to understand why he engages in Leela. What is the purpose of Bhagavan's Leelas? Name partasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana nanavaptam avaptavyam vartayevasu karmani, he says. Hey Arjuna, I have nothing to do. I have no reason to act. He is not bound by karma. We all act because of our karma. We are compelled, impelled to do actions. We are compelled, impelled to do our duties because of our karma. Bhagavan has no karma. He is the karma phaladata. He is beyond karma. But he says, Name partasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana nanavaptam avaptavyam vartayevashu karma. I still keep engaging in doing work, hey Arjuna. I still keeping. Bhagavan's karma is Leela. His actions are his Leela. Why? Because we may say, if it is Leela, what is Leela? Leela is a very beautiful word in our Shastras. Unfortunately, it's like many Sanskrit terms, Leela has no one word translation. We can loosely translate it as sport, loosely translate it as play. One thing we can understand, anything and everything that Bhagavan does is Leela. Akila bhuvana janmastema bhangadi leele. In his Bhashya on the Brahma Sutras, Ramanuja writes, Akila janma bhuvanastema bhangadi leele. Even creation, maintenance and dissolution are all his Leela, he says. Everything that he does is a Leela. So what is a Leela? Leela means a work where there is no purpose. Because Bhagavan has no purpose to do any action. It is a purposeless purpose. Why? Because there is one purpose, which is expression of joy. Bhagavan does Leelas to express joy, unbounded joy. And what is joy? Joy is a manifestation of love. He is a reservoir of limitless love. And he loves to share that love with all of us. So therefore, Leela is a natural expression for Bhagavan to reciprocate love. More than we longing for him, Bhagavan is longing for our love. He is waiting every moment to see if we will even turn towards him and smile, leave alone love him. And when somebody loves him, he gets carried away and he does everything and anything for them. Such is his boundless love. So Leela is an expression of Bhagavan's boundless love. But unfortunately, Bhagavan has a problem in expressing his own love. What is this problem that Bhagavan has? No, he is endowed with Aishwarya, greatness. But unfortunately, that Aishwarya backfires. Nobody seemed to go closer to him. No, when somebody is great, it is very difficult for anyone to relate with them. No, the relationship becomes asymmetrical. Bhagavan's Aishwarya also comes in the way of him freely exchanging love with his bhaktas. Because a bhakta who sees only Bhagavan's Aishwarya is a little intimidated. No, his greatness definitely induces submission. We can go and surrender to him. Realizing his greatness, we surrender to him. But we may not love him deeply. Bhagavan wants us not only to surrender, but also love. He takes delight not in his godhood. He takes delight in reciprocating love. No, this is the beauty of Bhagavan. He takes delight not in his own godhood, his own Aishwarya. He takes delight in reciprocating love with us. So actually, he is waiting to find ways and means of relating with us. So what does he do? He decides to only reveal his madhurya during all his leelas. Madhurya, madhurya, madhurya. Sweetness. He conceals his aishwarya, keeps revealing his madhurya. And that is the reason why Krishna Cheshtitas are so very sweet all the time, because he reveals his madhurya, and by revealing his madhurya, he connects with us. He reciprocates love with us. And in that process, his leelas are nothing but expression of that boundless love for all of us. The Vrajavasis are so very blessed. Every day, even before praying to Krishna, we should pray to the lotus feet of the Gopikas and the Gopas. How blessed they are that Bhagavan conceals his Aishwarya and reveals his Madhurya to them all the time. But if we see in Krishna Avatara, now and then he is compelled to reveal his Aishwarya as well, his greatness. Because why? One after the other, Putana comes, Ranavatra comes, Shakatashura comes, Banasura comes, Aghasura comes. So he needs to now and then reveal his Aishwarya, his greatness, to protect the Vrajavasis. So he reveals the Aishwarya to protect the Vrajavasis, but he conceals it and reveals his Madhurya so that he can engage in reciprocal love with the Vrajavasis. The Vrajavasis are also so very special because many a times, in spite of knowing Krishna is Sarveshwara, their prema is not diluted for him at all. For them, he is their Krishna, their Sakha. He is somebody whom they dearly love. And they also play the game with Krishna, that as he hides his Aishwarya and reveals his Madhurya, they enjoy that sweetness of Krishna and they get lost in it. Just because they enjoy Krishna's Madhurya, by no means they are not jnanis or they are not yogis. Uddhava found this out. Uddhava wanted to come to Gokula and teach, share jnana with the Gopikas, thinking Gopikas are Krishna Bhaktas, but I need to give them jnana. Uddhava wanted to do that. The moment he set his foot on Vraja, he underwent a transformation, horripilations all over the body. He couldn't speak. Such is the electric atmosphere where the great bhaktas, the Vrajavasis, they are constantly connected with Krishna. How can we not call them yogis? How can we not call them rishis? It seems the Gopikas whom we considered ordinary cowherd girls, very ordinary cowherd girls. But what do? They are constantly thinking of only Krishna. Wherever they see, they only see Krishna. Vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha, Krishna says. The great jnanis are the ones who sees Krishna everywhere. What do Gopikas do? Day in and day out, every moment for them is Krishna. Everything that they see is connected with Krishna, associated with Krishna. Krishna possibly is teaching Gita based on what he learned from Gopikas. Yat yat vibhuti mat sattvam srimad ujjitamevava. Gopikas teach us what Krishna taught in the Gita. When they listen to Krishna's flute, they get so carried away. Wherever they are, they just drop everything. And what do? They all get together, start discussing how mellifluous this Krishna's music is. And as it keeps flowing, they keep discussing how blessed we are. And look at the way they discuss. How blessed we are in Vraja. How blessed everyone is who is listening to Krishna. How blessed everyone in Vraja. How blessed that flute is. That flute is so blessed because it has that divine touch of adharam madhuram. Not only that, they don't not only confine themselves to discussion on the flute, how blessed is the bamboo stick out of which that flute is made. They don't confine themselves to the bamboo stick. How blessed is the bamboo tree from which that bamboo stick was chosen. They don't only confine to the bamboo tree. How blessed is the soil in which the bamboo tree grew. They don't only confine to the soil. How blessed are the birds which perch on this bamboo tree. They not only confined to the birds. How blessed is the lake which is adjacent to this bamboo tree, from which the bamboo that was chosen became a flute, which was chosen by Krishna, with which he is playing his flute. Who is a jnani? Who is a yogi? Who is a siddha purusha? The one who sees Krishna in everything. The one who sees the world and says, this world is Krishna. Krishna is the world. Everything is associated with it. This is exactly what the gopis teach. This is exactly how they lived their lives. So gopis are ordinary cowherd women, but they are the highest yogis. They are the highest jnanis, the highest siddhas. Why? Because tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. They have done what they have to do. When we do what we have to do, Krishna will do what he has to do. Macchitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam katayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. This is exactly what the Gopikas of Vraja did. This is exactly what the Gopas and the Gopis did. This is exactly what Yashoda Maya did. Macchitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam katayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. To those who do so, tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogantam. Krishna will give them buddhi yoga. They don't need to strive to attain buddhi yoga. Not only he will give them buddhi yoga, tesham evanukam partam aham ajñānajam tamaha nashayam yatma bhavastaha jñāna-dīpena bhāsvatā. In every mind and heart of Vraja, Krishna personally went and lit the light of lamp of knowledge. No wonder their experience is ceaseless. They don't experience Krishna for a minute. They don't experience Krishna for an hour. They don't experience Krishna for a day. They don't experience Krishna for a month. They don't experience Krishna for a year. They are constantly experiencing Krishna throughout. That is why Vraja is Bhuloka Vaikuntha. What is possible in Vaikuntha has been made possible because Krishna chose the Vrajabhumi to do his cheshtitas, to do his Leela. Of all these Leelas, Damodara Lila, today's Leela, is so very special because this is a Leela between a great Bhakta and Bhagavan. A great Bhakta who is an embodiment of Vatsalya, Bhakta Vatsalya. When the Bhakta demonstrates Vatsalya, Bhagavan has to become a child. Bhagavan transforms himself to accommodate the way we want to relate with him. I want to relate with him as a Sakha, he will transform to become my best Sakha. I want to relate to him as my master, he will become the best masters of all masters. I want to relate to him with paternal affection as a mother, as a father, he becomes the best child. I want to relate to him as his bharya, he becomes the best bharta. Any rasa that we choose to relate with him, he responds because he reciprocates love, not in equal measure, in thousands and thousands of more measure than what we can. Damodara Lila is therefore such a Lila where we see this beautiful engagement, this Lila between Mother Yashoda and Krishna. Mother Yashoda always pampers Krishna, we all know this. She pampers Krishna so much that her bhakti towards Krishna is so very unconditional. So very unconditional. And therefore we see in Damodara Lila, Bhagavan having an opportunity to express his boundless love, reciprocating to such a bhakta. Namami Ishwaram Sachidananda Rupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Bhrajamanam. Lasat Kundalam Gokule Bhrajamanam. Yashodabhiyah Ulukala Dhavamanam Paramrishtam Atyanto Dhritya Gopya. Damodarashtaka begins with such a glorious verse. In Padma Purana, Satyavrata himself composes this. This one verse is enough for us to get the very essence of the Vedanta, Itihasa, Purana, everything that we need to learn. The very rasa of Krishna Bhakti is embedded in this glorious verse, Damodarashtaka. Udaradamani asya iti Damodaraha. Dhamna udare baddha iti Damodaraha. What a divine nama, Damodara. Udaradamna asya iti Damodaraha. Udaradamna, the one who has this entire creation inside his belly. Udaradamna asya iti Damodaraha. Dhamna udare baddha iti Damodaraha. The one who was tied around his waist, around his belly by a rope, by Mother Yashoda. Therefore he is Damodaraha. Namami Ishwaram Sachidananda Rupam. In one verse, we get to enjoy four excellences. Four excellences. Tattva Visesha, Rupa Visesha, Parivara Visesha, Lila Visesha. Tattva Visesha. Getting to know Bhagavan, the one who got bound, who got tied up, is being addressed as Ishvara, Namami Ishwaram. Tattva Visesha. He is Satyakama, Satyasankalpa, Parabrahma Bhuta, Mahavibhute, Narayana, Vaikunthanatha, Asesha Charachara Bhuta, Nitya Niyamya Nirata, Asesha Chidachit Vastu Seshi Bhuta, Nikila Jagadadhara, Akhila Jagat Swamin, Asmat Swamin. He is the ruler, he is the controller, he is the Sarvaseshi, he is the owner, he is the master, but yet, out of compassion, he plays the little prank like a little child, exchanging, reciprocating love with Yashoda, a supreme bhakta. Therefore, Namami Ishwaram Sachidananda Rupam. What a beautiful, glorious Divya Mangala Vigraha. Eternally unchanging beauty. The beauty of truth and the truth of beauty are realized in this one line. Namami Ishwaram Sachidananda Rupam. The beauty now is further being described. Lasat Kundalam. Bhagavan wears lots of Divyabharanas. And those Divyabharanas are very beautiful. But they are beautiful only because they are adorned by Bhagavan. The same kundala or neck or grave, anything that if we wear, they don't become beautiful. Just because they adorn Krishna, they become beautiful. The beauty of all the ornaments is because of their association with Bhagavan. Lasat Kundalam. The Kundala are very, very special. So very special. As Krishna is running around, the kundalas are hanging and they are gently keep touching his cheek. How blessed they are, they get to keep kissing Krishna all the time. Gently kissing him all the time, swaying gently, and because of that, they become even more beautiful. And thanks to Kundala, which keeps swaying, we also get to see his divine ears. Otherwise, we are magnetically always drawn to his eyes. We ignore his ears. Thanks to Kundala, sometimes we turn around and see his equally beautiful ears, which are always waiting to listen to us. Lasat Kundalam. Lasat Kundalam Gokule Bhrajamanam. Gokule Bhraja. This is Parivara Visesha. No, Tattva Visesha, Rupa Visesha, Pariva. Krishna is always so very proud of Vraja. You know, when his parivara are the gopas, the gopis of Vraja. Therefore, Gokule Brajamanam, it seems the whole of Gokula is always shining. Ayodhya became dark after Rama's exile. And only because of that, when he came back, they started celebrating illuminating lamps. Gokula was always lit. Even if it is not lit, it was always shining. Because why? Not only Krishna was shining all the time, every Vrajavasi was shining in love. Every Vrajavasi was shining with love for Krishna, and therefore Gokule Brajamanam. Yashoda Biyah Ulukalat Dhavamanam. Yashoda Biyah. It seems little Krishna was in fear of Yashoda. You know, in Srimad Bhagavatam, Shuka beautifully writes, he says, it seems Krishna was waiting for the moment. Yashoda was patiently feeding Krishna. And then she realized, as she was feeding Krishna, a thought struck. My Krishna is being called a thief, not because he is a thief, because I have failed in my duty. Yashoda is telling herself, I have failed in my duty to feed him properly. Therefore, let me go and make butter with my own hands. Only then my Krishna will not go outside stealing butter. And when she went, until then Yashoda, it seems, believed that her little Krishna is very, very innocent. It is all these others who have been unnecessarily, they have been complaining. And then she turns around and sees Krishna standing on a wooden mortar, breaking a pot from the raft. Not only that, his face was smeared with butter, and he was, it seemed, distributing butter to all the monkeys all around. What a mess that place would have been. And the moment he sees Yashoda, it seems he was in fear. Yashoda Biyaha Ulukalat Dhavamanam. He jumps immediately from the mortar and runs. He runs and runs. And Yashoda had to run after him. Paramrishtam Atyanto Dritya Gopya. Dritya Gopya is Yashoda here. Finally, she ends up catching hold of Krishna from the back after a lot of effort. She catches hold of him and he is trembling in fear. You know, Krishna Lila Dhari, you know, he can play any role to perfection. When he trembles, the earth also trembles. Such is his tremble, with all fear. Immediately it's written, Rudantam. Rudantam. Seems he was weeping. You know, when Krishna cries, it's not drops of tears. There's a downpour of tears. All Rudantam. Muhurnetra yugmam mrijantam. Muhurnetra yugmam mrijantam. He not only weeps and cries, it seems he's rubbing both the ears, you know, with the collyrium all over, smearing on his face. Luckily, Krishna is also dark, Neelamegha Shyama. The collyrium, when it is all over smears, nobody will notice it, except Yashoda, because she is the one who is very, very focused in decorating his face every day. So a little bit here and there, she notices. Immediately she notices. Something is wrong with my Krishna. He's rubbing. Rudantam muhurnetra yugmam djantam. Karambhoja yugmena. How is he rubbing? Karambhoja yugmena. It is his lotus-like palms, rubbing his lotus-like eyes gently here and there. Krishna is essentially trying to distract Yashoda. His tears are to tear away her anger. Profusely tears coming. As tears is coming, Yashoda's heart is melting. It seems she was holding a stick like this. All our children unknowingly follow Krishna. The moment mother pricks a stick, they start trying. Just lift a stick. She lifts to chastise him, and immediately she becomes guilty. Oh my God, why did I even lift the stick? Karambhoja yugbena. And Muhushvasa kampa. He seems he starts to pant, breathing heavily. Muhushvasa kampa. Trirekhanka kantastita graivam. Trirekhanka kantastita. It seems that Krishna's neck has 3 lines, essentially to say he is neither too plumpy nor too emaciated, not too thin. Nicely built. Very beautiful, chubby little, so very beautiful. And the graveya, it was so very tight. It seems obviously every day if you have butter, what will happen? It will only become tight and tight. Every day Mother Yashoda has to change his necklace, growing in size all the time. And immediately, it seems when the moment she witnesses this Krishna crying, weeping, rubbing, and then exchanging the glances with eyes filled with tears, what does she do? Immediately she drops the stick. The stick that came to chastise, to punish him, immediately Yashoda drops the stick. And immediately she decides, now there is something that I have to do about this. Now I know that there is some little truth that Krishna is after all going and creating a mess in every house. She could see around, pots broken, everywhere there is butter on the floor. No, it's all in a mess, and monkeys everywhere enjoying the butter all the time. Krishna not only shares butter with Gopas, he shares butter with all. And she looks at his face. No, Bhagavan is crying, they say. No, but we mortals cry in anguish. Bhagavan is crying in delight. Because why? He is able to exchange that love with Yashoda, which is unparalleled. Who can give that kind of an unconditional love? Who can give such an unconditional love? So when Yashoda looks at him, immediately what strikes her is nothing but Krishna's beauty. What strikes her is nothing but Krishna's beauty. So very beautiful. Even when he weeps, even when he rubs his eyes, that magnetic beauty captivates her so much. Kasturi tilakam lalatapatale vakshastale kaustubham nasagre navamoktikam karatale venu kare kankanam sarvange harichandanam sulalitam kantecha muktavali gopastri pariveshtito vijayate gopala chudamani. Vijayate gopala chudamani. Who cannot get arrested by that magnetizing beauty? Immediately getting arrested, she has to decide. She has to do something about it. What shall I do? Then she decides that the only way to stop is to tie him. I have to tie him so that he stops doing this, repeating this mess and again. Because why? She has still not completed her chores. She has to complete her chores, at the same time control this chore, Makan chore. Difficult task. Mother Yashoda therefore decides that what is the chore that she has to complete? She has to bake butter for Krishna only. That is what is left incomplete. She's been going around collecting milk, churning the curds. When she was churning the curds, all this mess happened. She wants to go back, bring butter again, feed him only. And then she says, okay, let me do one thing. Let me tie him. Let me tie him so that I can at least temporarily stop. That is how Bhagavan, then she keeps running after him. She keeps running after him. He keeps running, he keeps running. He keeps running, she keeps running. Finally, she catches him, or should we say, he allows himself to be caught. And when he allows himself to be caught, she decides that he should tie him around. And by tying him around, that Damodara, Udaradamani Asya iti Damodara. Bhagavan is Damodara. Why? Because his entire creation is inside his belly. But that Damodara chooses to become Damodara, the one who got tied by Yashoda. Just like how that Paravasudeva, Krishna is Vasudeva. He is Vasudeva, the one who envelops this entire universe. Therefore, he is Vasudeva. That Vasudeva decides to become son of Vasudeva and also become Krishna Vasudeva. Damodara, the Paramatma, the Parabrahman, the Purushottama, the Mahavibhute, he decides to become Damodara, the little naughty child, loving child of Yashoda. And Yashoda nicely ties him up. This is how the Damodara Lila progresses. Damodara Lila, with the moment Yashoda, before she is able to catch hold of him, Yashoda teaches us a very important lesson. The Leela, Damodara Lila, can also be for the children here in a modern context if we have to rename it. Somebody decided to rename Damodara Lila and release a movie so that everybody will go and watch. The movie was titled Catch Me If You Can. Everybody rushed to see, and then it was Damodara Lila. But this Catch Me If You Can, I can assure you, is lot more intriguing, lot more interesting, lot more riveting, lot more attention grabbing than any Catch Me If You Can that can watch. Catch Me If You Can. Yashoda, visualize Mother Yashoda running after Krishna and this little boy. And who is she running after? The most elusive person in this entire creation. The most elusive person who cannot be caught. Naham vedairna tapasa nadanena chejjaya shakya evam vidodrashtum drishtavanasi mamyata. Krishna himself declares in the Gita, hey Arjuna, Naham vedairna tapasa, not by Vedas, not by tapas, not by dana, not by ijja. No one can catch me, hey Arjuna. He cannot be caught. Catching Krishna is comprehending Krishna. Catching Krishna is comprehending Krishna. No, we all try to use our intelligence in order to catch Krishna. And we desperately, and we fail. We are desperate to catch him, but we will fail. Why? Because he is not an intellectual puzzle to be solved with our intelligence. Bhagavan is not an intellectual puzzle to be solved. If we only use our intelligence to catch him, we will repeatedly fail. Then, what is the use of intelligence? Bhagavan has bestowed a unique endowment to us, called something called intelligence. The intelligence is to be used to invoke his grace by doing service to him. When we use our intelligence to do his kainkarya and invoke his grace, then we don't need to catch him, he will get caught. Instead of trying to grasp Krishna, we should be grasped by Krishna. We will be successful when we let ourselves be grasped by him. This is exactly what Yashoda Maya is teaching. Yashoda Maya is teaching here in the game of Catch Me If You Can. Krishna, the most elusive chore, is running all over. As it is, the floor is all wet with all makhan everywhere, broken pots everywhere, and Yashoda is running equally hard, running behind Krishna, trying to catch him. Finally, Krishna looks around, and when the moment he sees the worrisome face of Yashoda, he stops. He stops. He lets himself to be caught. Naham vedairna tapasa nadanena nachejjaya shakya evam vidodrashtum drishtavanasi mamyata. If he cannot be caught by any means, then how do we catch him? Bhaktya tvananyaya shakya aham evam vidorjuna jñātum drashtum chatatvena praveshtum cha parantapa. It is only through bhakti that one can know him, experience him, realize him, see him and attain him. And Yashoda demonstrates this fundamental truth. Through Damodara Lila, we get to learn so many lessons. Damodara Lila is so very special, not only because we see Krishna doing fascinating acts. We are always fascinated. Every time we listen to Damodara Lila, it is so very enchanting, so very endearing, it's enlivening. It is also enlightening because Krishna teaches so many, a simple act. He teaches so many things, and we see through the great Bhakta Yashoda and Bhagavan engaged in this Leela, there are several lessons that we can learn. Let us look at some of the most important life lessons we can learn from Damodara Lila. Yani yaniha gitani tad bala charitani cha dadi nirmanthane kale smaranti tani agayata. Shukha Brahma beautifully describes. Shukha, whenever he gets into describing Leela, specifically Damodara Lila, after every sentence, he has to take some breath and pause because it is impossible for him to overcome the love that is being flooded in his heart. He says he is capturing that wondrous occasion for all our benefit. Mother Yashoda decides to make butter from her own hands for Krishna. She comes to realize that until today, everybody else has been making butter. Yashoda, she's a Rani. She is Rani of Gokula. She has hundreds of people to help her do butter. So therefore, she keeps only giving instructions. But then she realized, I know now why my Krishna is going and tasting butter from every other house. Because this butter in my own house is not prepared by me. Therefore, what is being offered to him in my house is not good enough for him. So, I will make the butter myself, she says. And what does she do? Yani yani ha gitani tad bala charitani cha. Dadi nirmantane kale. So the first and foremost lesson we learn from Damodara Lila is Mother Yashoda personally endeavors to serve Krishna. The first lesson is personal endeavor in devotional service to Krishna. Very, very important. We are all good in delegating. Even when it comes to serve Krishna, we delegate. It is not enough to delegate. We will say, I will donate, I will do this, I will do that. All that are immaterial. All that Krishna wants is to see if we can indulge ourselves personally in whatever little kainkariya that we can do. Through Damodara Lila, Mother Yashoda teaches this quintessential life lesson. Personal endeavor in devotional service to Bhagavan. Bhagavan is only pleased when he sees his bhakta personally engaged in devotional service. Shukha beautifully writes, he says, Yani yani ha gitani tad bala charitani cha. It seems, look at what Yashoda is doing. Yashoda Mata is churning the curds. She goes around collecting milk first from different cows. First, she chooses the cows because she wants the best milk for her best son. Then she gets the best milk from the best cows. She collects the milk, she makes the curd herself, and she starts churning herself. And what does she do while churning? Yani yani ha gitani tad bala charitancha. It seems she starts to sing tad bala charitancha. Hey Govinda, hey Gopala, hey Krishna, hey Madhava. And obviously Krishna has done so many cheshtitas that there are so many ways to keep singing about him. Not one, not two, three. Every day has been an eventful day in Vraja. Why every day? Every hour is eventful. So therefore she has so many things to sing. So what does she do? She is gloriously lost in contemplating on Krishna, singing. And that the reason why there is abundance of butter in Vraja is because every Gopika, when they are churning, they are all singing, Hey Krishna, Hey Krishna, Hey Krishna. It seems they had to be told, please stop, because there is no place for butter. The more you say, Hey Krishna, the more butter is being churned. Miraculously, 1 kilo of curd can only give 1 kilo of butter. 100 kilos of butter, where is it coming from? It's all coming from because of Hey Krishna, Hey Krishna, Hey Krishna. She's singing Yani, Yani, Yani ha gitani tad bala charitani cha. She's, therefore, Dadi nirmanthane kale, Dadi nirmanthane. She's doing work, she's churning, but she's at the same time, she's also singing Krishna's glories. So the second life lesson that Krishna teaches, Yashoda teaches us through Damodara Lila, is a very important lesson. Prize Krishna's remembrance. Prize, the verb, prize, value his remembrance. We have to value his remembrance more than anything else. Because if we don't value his remembrance, we will not remember him. If we forget Krishna, we will not get Krishna. Forgetting Krishna, we must not forget Krishna. This is the important life lesson. Yashoda is teaching that. See, we always remember anything that we love. We constant, just like let's say, 1 month down the line, we plan to buy a new car. Every day we will be remembering the same car. We would have seen it in a brochure, or you would have seen it on screen. We will naturally remember it. It's a different fact that after we buy the car, after one day we will forget it. But until that anticipation, we'll keep remembering. So remembrance is because of love and affection. Also, remembrance can also be used to cultivate love and affection. Both are possible. Remembrance is because of love and affection. Remembrance can also be cultivated, can also be used to cultivate love and affection. Both are possible. It is very important to see eye to eye with Krishna. If we have to see Krishna with our eyes, we need to first see eye to eye with him. What does seeing eye to eye with Krishna mean? It is said that when we are sick and we go to a doctor, they always say you have to see eye to eye with the doctor. What does seeing eye to eye with the doctor mean? The doctor gives you a diagnosis, and the doctor gives you a prescription and a treatment. If we seeing eye to eye with the doctor means accepting his diagnosis and accepting the treatment, the prescription, the medicines that he has given and the treatment that he has prescribed. Only then we can say eye to eye. If we don't accept his diagnosis, we have a problem. Then we will say we will go somewhere else. First is to accept his diagnosis. After accepting his diagnosis, he will give prescribed medicines, he will give the treatment, and we go through the treatment. Both are required. Similarly, seeing eye to Krishna means first accept his prescription, accept his diagnosis. What is Krishna's diagnosis? What is the sickness that he is diagnosed? Our sickness that he is diagnosed is spiritual amnesia. That's our sickness, as simple as that. And what is the prescription that he gives through our Shastras? He gives a very simple prescription, not very, very difficult treatment and all that. The simple prescription is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnoho, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Marchanam, Mandanam, Shakyam, Dashyam, Atmanivedanam. Simple prescription, simple treatment. And when we accept, then when we see eye to eye with Krishna, he grants us the eye to see him. This is what happened to Yashoda. Sometimes we wonder, how come Krishna in Vraja, he was always only displaying Madhurya and concealing Aishwarya all the time. There was one time he revealed his Aishwarya to Mother Yashoda. When was the time when he revealed Aishwarya to Mother Yashoda? It was a time when a group of children came running to Mother Yashoda. Mother Yashoda was very busy. They came running and said, Maya, you know what? Your naughty Krishna is eating mud. Mother Yashoda did not believe. She said, no. My Krishna, I give him such lovely food, such nutritious food. Why will he go and eat mud? No, please come and see. And then she keeps running. And then see, Krishna, the moment Yashoda comes, immediately holds his mouth tight. But then, unfortunately, he has already taken a huge amount of sand already. So his mouth is also bulging, but he's holding his mouth so that mother does not find what is inside. She comes and says, what is inside? Show me. She says, nothing. But then when he opens the mouth, she sees Bhagavan's Vishwarupa inside. Now, Bhagavan reveals his Aishwarya there. We may wonder, why did Bhagavan, he always revealed Aishwarya in Vraja for only one thing, to protect the Vrajavasis. In this instance, why did he reveal his Aishwarya to Mother Yashoda? The answer is for protection. Not for Mother Yashoda's protection, for his protection. What is his protection? To protect the fact that he is Satya Sankalpaha. Bhagavan is Satya Sankalpaha, but he is lied to his mother. Mother said, hey Krishna, what is there in his mouth? Nothing, mother. He is lied. Now he has to open his mouth. When he opens his mouth, and when she sees, then if he becomes a liar, then his Satya Sankalpatva goes for a toss. So Bhagavan has to reveal his Aishwarya to protect himself in this case. And not only that, he reveals his Aishwarya, and Lo and behold, Mother Yashoda sees such a wondrous vision of Bhagavan. Nobody else had that kind of a blessing. No Devata. But at the same time, he also reveals his Aishwarya. He uses his Yoga Maya also to ensure to create that Vishmaya in Yashoda. He uses Yoga Maya to create Vishmaya. She is drowned in wonder and she forgets what she saw. This is what Krishna wanted. The second lesson that Mother Yashoda teaches in Damodara Lila is praise Bhagavan's remembrance. His remembrance is of utmost priority. Do not let his remembrance to be a second priority. It should be the first priority over everything else. Remembering him, everything else can be remembered because everything and anything can be associated with him. So it is not difficult to forget him. And at the same time, it is not difficult to remember him. Both. It is not difficult to forget him. With ease we forget him. That is our spiritual amnesia. But it is also not difficult to remember him because we may think remembering him means only remembering him alone, which is very difficult. Remembering him alone is very difficult, but remembering him together with the world is not difficult at all. Yad vibhuti mat sattvam srivat ujjitameva tattadeva avagachatvam mama tejamsha sambhavam. Anything and everything that we see can be related to Krishna. And in that process, by engaging with the world, we can keep engaging with the world maker. By enjoying his painting, we can enjoy the painter. Not difficult at all. So the second lesson that Mother Yashoda teaches is praise his remembrance. There is a reason why I am starting with praise with a P, because we are going to see a series of P's. The first P is personal endeavor in devotional service to Krishna. The second P is praise his remembrance over everything. To get Krishna, do not forget Krishna. The third P that Mother Yashoda teaches through Damodara Lila. The third P is to perspire, to work hard. Shuka describes in the Bhagavatam, as she is churning the curds to make butter, Mother Yashoda was seen profusely perspiring, working hard. That devotion is unparalleled, that she can go to any length working hard. Now, working hard, we understand working hard either as physical labor or sometimes intellectual labor. This is what working hard means. There is another hard work that we have to learn to do. This is what the Vrajavasis teach us. The Vrajavasis teach us another form of hard work. Vrajavasis call it heart work. In the blessed land of Vraja, everybody does heart work. Krishna does the hard work. Everybody does hard work. They make butter. Krishna does the hard work of stealing butter. This is what happens in Vraja. But the more he keeps stealing butter, the more abundance of butter in Vraja. This is the beauty. Now, what is heart work? Heart work is essentially directing the mind towards Krishna. If we do not direct the mind, there are only two possibilities. Either one possibility is that we have to work hard. The other possibility is we work hardly. These are the only two possibilities. Because when the mind is in charge, either we have to work very, very hard with almost no results. We keep working hard, we keep working hard. This is one mode. This is the Rajasic mode. Working hard, hard, hard with no results. Another is the Tamasic mode. Working hardly. Now, instead of the mind taking charge, when we put Krishna in charge, the hard work becomes heart work. This is what Yashoda teaches us. The heart work of serving Krishna, the heart work of winning Krishna. Therefore, the third P is perspiring for Krishna through heart work. Mother Yashoda also teaches another important lesson. The fourth P, pursuing Krishna all the time. Pursuing him all the time. The all the time is what is more important. We also once in a while pursue him. That once in a while can be, depending on, if you take the time span, it can come in its own way now and then. But she teaches how to keep pursuing him all the time, pursuing him constantly, continuously, and then eventually when she pursues, he is caught. That pursuit is important. Catching is not important. For us, we think catching is important. Catching will happen when he wills, but pursuing is what is important. So therefore, Mother Yashoda, through Damodara Lila, teaches a very important lesson, the lesson of pursuit. Pursuit. When we say life is about pursuit of happiness, life is about pursuit of peace, life is about pursuit of truth, life is about pursuit of beauty. Peace, happiness, truth, beauty, put all of them together, life is about pursuit of Krishna. This is what Yashoda clearly teaches. Pursuit of Krishna is very, very important. The next life lesson that Mother Yashoda teaches, we've talked about perspiring and pursuing. The next important, persistence. Persist. If you look at Damodara Lila, wonder of wonders, what happens? Mother Yashoda is first chasing Krishna. Krishna is running hither and thither, going all around. Then eventually she catches him. But until she catches him, a lot of effort was needed. She has to persist with the effort. Unlike us, she never gives up. For us, we chant once and then we expect Krishna to respond 100 times. Hey Krishna, one time I have chanted one shloka this week. You better do 100 things for me. She is not counting on what Krishna is going to do for her. She is persisting with her effort. Persisting. She knows that eventually the reward will come her way. That after that persistence, something wonderful happens. She finally catches hold of Krishna from the back. Or rather, Krishna lets himself to be caught. And then what she did, she says, hey Krishna, now I'm going to tie you. Now that I've caught you, I'm not going to let you. This is also very important for us. We also need to tie Krishna down in our minds. Abhyasa and Vairagya that Krishna teaches in the Gita is all about tying him. When we say dhyana, is tying Krishna in our minds. Tying. That there is a wondrous Leela happening here. She starts to tie. What does she do? She takes a rope. She looks at Krishna. Krishna, obviously a little child. She says, okay, this rope is enough to tie his waist, and she sees a mortar there, wooden mortar. She immediately ties Krishna with the rope. She tries to tie with the wooden mortar. And then lo and behold, her judgment goes wrong. The rope exactly falls 2 fingers short. Then she says, okay, I calculated wrong. She looks around, she takes another rope. She ties this to the first rope. Then extends that rope. She goes to tie it to the mortar. Again, the rope falls 2 fingers short. She is flabbergasted. What is happening? Krishna is smiling, looking at his mother. As it is, she was perspiring, she was panting. She thought Krishna was panting, it was only his act. He was panting to act, but now he is enjoying, blissfully looking at his mother. He loves seeing how Yashoda is going about, but the beauty is, Shuka writes, Yashoda is smiling. For a moment, she is not frustrated, she is not disappointed. A very important lesson we need to learn. We get so very frustrated with Krishna so easily. The first thing that happens is we start blaming him, saying, what are you doing? I am doing so much. Now, always smiling. One more rope she takes, again ties, again tries to tie him. Once again, 2 fingers short. He doesn't know. Goes on and on, persisting, persisting, persisting. Krishna is engaging in his Leela. Atimanusha Chila Vrittaveshaihi Ativrittamara Vikrama Pratapaihi Athilangita Sarvaloka Samyam Varave Vaishnava Vaibhavavata. His avatara cheshtitas, every cheshtita is so very wondrous, and this cheshtita, it seems all the gopikas assembled there. They're all looking what's going on, and they're also smiling. Yashoda is also smiling. For one moment, she was not disappointed. She did not feel insulted. She goes on, persists and persists and persists. We may wonder, why is this always rope falling short by 2 fingers? First rope, second rope, third rope, fourth rope, 10th rope, 100th rope, 2 fingers short. Krishna is giving a clear message to not to Yashoda, to all of us. The 2 fingers of endeavor, personal endeavor, individual endeavor, and divine will. Both are required. With our individual endeavor alone, it is necessary but not sufficient. The rope miraculously falling short by 2 fingers is a very important lesson. 2 fingers teach. Individual endeavor is necessary but not sufficient. Divine will is what completes our endeavor. Our individual endeavor is only to invoke His grace. And it is only with His grace then we can further move on to experience the reward, experience the success. So this persistence that Yashoda Mata teaches is so very important that she doesn't give up, and eventually when she persisted, Krishna then looked at her and said, time has come for him to be tied. The boundless Bhagavan gets tied not by the rope's length, by Yashoda's devotion's depth. It is the devotion's depth that binds Bhagavan, not the rope's length. So Yashoda Mata, through the Damodara Lila, teaches us some very important life lessons. First P, personal endeavor in devotional service. Second P, prize His remembrance over everything else. Third P, perseverance, hard work for Krishna. Fourth P, pursue Krishna, pursue Krishna, pursue only Krishna. That only also is important. And then persistence, perseverance, steadfast determination. When that is there, when all of this put together, Tesham yevanukampartam aham ajñānajam tamaha nashayami atmabhavastaha jñāna-dīpena bhāsvatā. Picture abhi kafi baki hai. Don't think I've concluded. Because there is one important thing that we need to also relish on this day of Deepavali. Relishing Damodara Lila, we can also relish it in one other way. This is what I call it our satsang way. What is our satsang way? Relishing it the Gita way. Because after all, Gita is the foundation for us. Looking at Gita, we think Gita is a philosophical text. Krishna came, Krishna spoke, Krishna went. Arjuna did not understand, we did not understand. That's how we conclude Gita. One fine day, Krishna came, Krishna talked, Krishna went. What happened? Nobody knows. We think Krishna is philosophy. But Tattva is also, underlying Tattva is also Madhurya. Krishna, Gita is not all about Aishwarya, it is all about Madhurya. It is Krishna's love for Arjuna. It is His love for us. So therefore, Gita is also His Leela. Now when we list Krishna Leelas, we keep listing. Puthanavada, Trinavatravada, Bakasuravada, Agasuravada, Damodara Lila, Kalingavardhana, Govardhana Lila. Where is Gita Leela? Gita is also a Leela. So therefore, on this auspicious day of Deepavali, it is in the Gita that Krishna gives us this assurance. Jnana-dīpena bhāsvatā. Incidentally, jñāna-dīpena bhāsvatā, the title was inspired by this painting. Hasiniji, when she showed me the work in progress, and I said then the topic has to be jñāna-dīpena bhāsvatā. But it so happened that the jñāna-dīpena bhāsvatā in the Gita turned out to be a different jñāna-dīpena bhāsvatā for all of us, because we are also relishing Damodara Lila on this day of Deepavali. Now, let us look at the Gita where Krishna teaches jñāna-dīpena bhāsvatā, the Lila, the Gita Lila, and Damodara Lila where also Krishna demonstrates. What is important for us to know, before Krishna taught Gita to Arjuna, hey Arjuna, tesham evanukampartam aham ajñārajam tamah nashayamyatma bhavastaha jñāna-dīpena bhāsvatā. This is my assurance to you, hey Arjuna, he says. Arjuna looks at Krishna and says, you are assuring me. How can I believe your assurance here, Krishna? No, all of us want this assurance, right? Somebody says, I assure you. Krishna says, don't worry, I've already demonstrated this in Vraja. If you want, you can go and ask Yashoda Maya. If you want, you can go and ask Radha. If you want, you can go and ask all the Gopas and the Gopikas. I've already demonstrated what I am assuring you here. Therefore, this glorious assurance is given in the Gita. This glorious assurance is demonstrated in Damodara Lila. So let's look at the parallels between Gita, the Lila, and Damodara Lila. There are some interesting parallels between these two Leelas. What are these interesting parallels between these two Leelas? Interestingly, both the Leelas begin with the Bhaktas in a superior position and Bhagavan in a subordinate position. Arjuna is in a superior position in the Gita. He is the one who is the warrior. He is in the superior position. Bhagavan, Sarveshwara, he takes the role of a chariot, takes the role of a subordinate position. Damodara Lila, Mother Yashoda is in the superior position and Bhagavan is in a subordinate position. Even in the Gita, at the beginning, Arjuna thought he knows everything. He knows everything. After all, he is the most accomplished warrior. And he's also learnt all the Shastras. As a mother, Mother Yashoda also thought she knows everything that is required for her child. And in both the Leelas, the Leelas begin with a command, not by Bhagavan, by the Bhakta. Senayor ubhayor madhye ratham sthapayamechyuta. Arjuna commands Krishna, hey Krishna, you have to do this. And beautifully Krishna carries out the command. Mother Yashoda also commands Krishna. So in both the Leelas, interestingly, they start with Bhagavan taking a subordinate position and the Bhakta taking a superior position. Both the Leelas have, interestingly, the same trigger. Both the Leelas, interestingly, have the same trigger. What is the trigger? Krishna's mischievousness. It is Krishna's mischievousness that leads to Damodara Lila. After all, he is so very mischievous. He creates a mess, breaking pots, distributing butter, all that creates a mess. And it is his mischievousness that leads to Damodara Lila. We may wonder, what is happening here? Damodara Lila, mischievousness of Krishna triggering Damodara Lila, we can understand. How can he say it is Krishna's mischievousness that leads to Gita? After all, Gita is a philosophical wonder. It is Krishna's, what is Krishna's mischievousness? Arjuna commands Krishna, hey Krishna, Senayor ubhayor madhye ratham sthapayamechyuta, hey Achyuta, go and take me to the middle of the battlefield. Kurukshetra is a massive battleground. Arjuna has only asked Krishna to take to the middle. What does Krishna do? He takes him not just to any middle, right in front of Bhishma and Drona. If it is not for his mischievousness, what else can we call him? He could have taken Arjuna anywhere. The middle line throughout the Kurukshetra, it can be anywhere, it can be positioned anywhere. Krishna dutifully takes him and stops right in such a way that Arjuna has no option other than looking eye to eye with Bhishma. That's where the whole problem happens. Mischievousness of Krishna triggers the Gita. There is another mischievousness in Damodara Lila. He mischievously creates all this mess, breaks the pots, distributes butter to monkeys and does all that. And when mother chases him, Yashoda is running after him, Krishna ultimately turns around, looks at her and decides to stop, to be caught. But look at Krishna's mischievousness here. He decides to get caught right at the place where there is a wooden mortar readily available and waiting, number one, so that Mother Yashoda can tie him to the mortar. More importantly, that place where he gets caught is not far away from the Yamala-Arjuna trees. Yamala-Arjuna, Nalakuvera, Manigriva, the sons of Kubera, cursed to become Yamala-Arjuna trees, have been waiting for ages for Krishna. So he chooses Damodara Lila also to eventually liberate Nalakuvera and Manigriva. So he runs and runs and runs and runs. He first runs inside the house. He then runs in the courtyard. He runs all over. Finally chooses to get caught at a place few feet away from Yamala-Arjuna trees. And when he is tied to the mortar, he ensures that he effortlessly crawls between the trees, taking the mortar along, uproots the trees and liberates Nalakuvera and Manigriva. So therefore, through his mischievousness, he gets caught, does Damodara Lila, and also ensures that the two cursed beings, sons of Kubera, are also liberated. Even in Kurukshetra, he stops at a place where people are waiting for liberation. To be liberated from this very planet, Bhishma, Drona, they all are waiting to be liberated. They were caught in between and they were waiting for the moment. Those who are waiting to be liberated, he stops right at there on Kurukshetra. During Damodara Lila, also he stops right at the place just few feet away from the Yamala-Arjuna trees, two people waiting to be liberated. Once again, very interesting coincidence, between these two parallels between Damodara Lila and Bhagavad Gita. Damodara Lila, Mother Yashoda is very busy. She's persistent. She's tying the rope. And all the while, she is thinking. She, in her mind, she is planning. She is thinking that it is she who is doing all the work. Krishna is only standing. Krishna is doing nothing. And Mother Yashoda is thinking that she is the one who is doing all the work. All the running around, bringing the ropes, tying to the mortar, all the work. In reality, it is Krishna who is doing all the work. On the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna thinks he, the warrior, is the one who is actually engaged and fighting, and he is the one who is going to win over all the enemies, without realizing that it is not his plan, it is Krishna's plan that is in operation all the time. It is just that he did not realize that he is part of Krishna's plan, and originally Arjuna was thinking Krishna is part of his plan. Eventually he realized that Krishna is not part of my plan. I am an infinitesimal part of Bhagavan's mega plan. Another parallel between Damodara Lila and Bhagavad Gita. The fourth parallel is even more interesting. In both the Leelas, we see Bhagavan starts by demonstrating or revealing his Madhurya. He conceals his Aishwarya in both the Leelas. Even in the Gita also, it is only because of his Madhurya that he chose to be a charioteer, and it is because of his love for Arjuna, he is actually advising Arjuna of what is right, what is wrong. And it is because of his Madhurya alone, he is also engaging in reciprocal love with Mother Yashoda. But in both the Leelas, from Madhurya, slowly he proceeds to revealing Aishwarya. In the Gita we know, Manyase yedita maya drashtum iti prabho yogeshwara tato me tvam dashayatmanam avyayam. we need to understand Krishna did not choose to reveal his Aishwarya, his godhood, his greatness to Arjuna. Krishna throughout the Gita, he could have started the Gita saying, Arjuna, I am the God. You better listen to me. Dot. Over. He never did that. He always tried to persuade Arjuna all throughout. The only reason that he revealed his Aishwarya, revealed his Vishwarupa, revealed his glories, limitless opulences, only because Arjuna asked him. And Arjuna also soon realized what a mistake he did. And then immediately say, hey Krishna Kiritinam Gadinam Chakrahastam Vichchamitvam Drashtumatam Tataiva Tenaiva Rupena. Hey Krishna, enough is enough. I am unable to comprehend what you are revealing. Tenaiva Rupena Chaturbhujena Sahasrabaho Bhava Vishwamurte. Krishna, when he revealed his Vishwarupa, it was too much for Arjuna to comprehend and conceive. Arjuna was unable to catch hold of Krishna until Krishna decided to be caught by Arjuna. Tenaiva Rupena Chaturbhujena. Krishna decided, revealed his simple form so that Arjuna can comprehend, conceive, and come to terms with him. Krishna decides from Madhurya to Aishwarya back to Madhurya, and Arjuna thinks he is catching Krishna. Krishna lets himself to be caught by Arjuna. Same thing happens in Damodara Lila as well. Mother Yashoda is thinking that she is catching. Evam sandarshita hyanga harina bhrityavashyata. Shukha, highlighting Damodara Lila, writes, Evam sandarshita hyanga harina bhrityavashyata. Harina bhrityavashyata, he writes. Savashenapi Krishnena yasyedam sheshwaram vashe. The supreme controller, the Sarveshwara, the Sarvaniyanta, the Sarvaseshi, the Jagannatha, the Sakaladhara, he decides to become Bhrityavashyata. Shukha is unable to come to terms that how can the supreme master come under the control of Bhritya, the servant. The servant is able to capture the master. Evam sandarshita hyanga harina bhrityavashyata. Bhagavan decides, chooses to become a servant, to be controlled, to get controlled by boundless, bountiful bhakti of Yashoda. Why? Because by doing so, he does two things. Jñāna-dīpena bhāsvatā. By expressing that sweetness, he enables Yashoda and all of us to experience that sweetness, and in the process of experiencing that sweetness, we also get to not only know about him, know him, realize him, see him, and attain. The Vrajavasis are so very blessed. Mother Yashoda is the most blessed. There is a big difference between the Vrajavasis and all of us. All are bhaktas. We all pray to Krishna. The Vrajavasis pray for Krishna. Fundamental difference. When one starts to experience that limitless sweetness, one starts to recognize that source of all beauty, one makes that blissful transition from praying to Krishna and praying for Krishna. One's love finds no limits whatsoever. The Vrajavasis, Mother Yashoda, they are ordinary people, no doubt. But their love for Krishna is extraordinary. When we do ordinary things, day in and day out, what we do is only ordinary anyway. When we do ordinary things with Krishna Bhakti, extraordinary things happen. When we do ordinary things with Krishna Bhakti, extraordinary things happen. Why? Because Krishna creates and recreates magical, miraculous experiences for us by flooding our hearts with bountiful love. He being that source of unending nectar, he starts to shower his grace. And that is why we need to keep reminding ourselves of that assurance of all assurances. Tesham evanukampartam aham ajñānajam tamaha nashayamyatma bhavastaha jñāna-dīpena bhāsvatā. Wish you all a very, very, very sweet Deepavali. Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanamastu.